Hello! This presentation is for the skydivers that already have some experience in canopy relative work and would like to learn and compete in two-way. This is for beginners, but there is plenty to do. Welcome to the journey. Here are the main topics to get us prepared to train. In Get Ready, we will talk about the proper gear and weather briefing. The rules of flight would be covering from the exit to using different flying techniques. Emergency procedures, we would review safety rules and pay attention to how to avoid emergencies. Moving on to the two-way specifics, it's about the learning objectives. And then next we would start planning the practice dives. Let's get ready. First things first, let's prepare our gear. For crew we use only crew canopies. Start with lightning. No need to rush to a faster flying wing as CF Storm. Storm is more intermediate canopy. It has high forward speed and it's very responsive. But to learn two-way, we actually need to fly slow and learn how to stop. And lightning is flying relatively slow. It's very stable and wants to be inflated all the time, which is great for the safety. Using lightning for two-way adds more knowledge for your future big ways. Remember to disconnect the RSL. Also have very good wraps on the front risers. Wrapping the front risers is more efficient than using front riser loops. In two-way, we learn how to apply controls quickly without looking at them. We make a lot of moves and we simply don't have time to look at those loops before grabbing them. Another important piece is comfortable clothing. We have to learn to fly with our bodies. So having light, stretchy pants and shirts would be very beneficial. Remember to have your altimeter and few hook knives and radios. When you are making corrections during the same jump, it speeds up the learning tremendously. The next topic is compatibility. In crew, we all know how important it is to be compatible with each other. Please calculate your wing loadings and match each other. I highly recommend flying the same size canopies if possible. If not, have no more than one size different. More than that, the canopies fly way too different and you cannot match the forward speeds. Before we gear up and head to the airplane, we must have drop zone and weather briefing. Whenever we jump at a new drop zone, we need to get familiar with that area. Explore the map of the airport, walk outside, know your directions, off-fields, and any obstacles in the area. Another little thing but very useful is to know the runway's directions. Very often there are also numbers printed out on both ends of the runway. Those are the runway headings for the aircraft pilots. Here is the drop zone Start Skydiving in Ohio, and our runway runs 230050. To fly two-way, we need to make sure we know the winds at all altitudes. Both of us become pilots of our two-way formations because we change positions and we may fly in different directions. We need to make sure we stay on the wind line. So during the jump, Stop often and check your location. Every one of us might already have our favorite weather observation websites. If you don't, then keep checking them and ask your friends which are their favorites and find yours. Here is Winds Aloft, Mark Schultz winds. This is my personal favorite. It's very accurate. The only thing I don't check there is the surface ground winds. For that, I would call local AWOS system or check other websites. Also, do wind checks every few hours because the weather is changeable. When we are checking the winds, we create the wind cone. This is the area where we want to be flying to stay on the wind line. Looking at this particular example at Winds Aloft, we can see that the upper winds are out of 280 rotating to 320 lower winds. This is how our wind cone will be drawn. Exiting from 280, we would exit past the airport because the winds are pretty strong, and we need to remember that about at 6,000 feet the winds are shifting to 320, so we would favor that direction. And the winds are not as strong, so it should be closer to the drop zone to land at our designated area. Let the manifest know that you would be doing crew. Communicate with the pilot. Ask what is his planned jump run. Ask him to slow down the airplane. 75-85 IAS indicated airspeed would be the best for the crew jumpers. The indicated airspeed, it is how fast the plane is going through the air. It is not a ground speed, which is for the spacing purposes. Talk to him about the exit spot. Possibly crew jumpers would be exiting last. And the pilot may need to notify the ATC tower, so he should know that you are pulling high. What else do we need to know before we go up in the air? Let's talk about the rules of flight. How do we exit and how to make a perfect approach? The directions of flight that our formations would be moving. The flying techniques we already know and see which ones are applied for the two-way. The break-offs and landings. So we go to skydive being prepared. For the exits, the first jumper takes 3-second delay, pulls and stays on the aircraft heading, applying 1/3 or 1/4 brakes to be nice and stable target. The other two jumpers take 1 or 2 seconds delays. Video person positions himself by the door to film the first jumper's foot leaving the door. From this moment the competition time starts, so make sure the foot is nicely seen on video. The team has 60 seconds to build the first formation. Last year we had 30 seconds, so now in new rules we have double time. So no rush, no worry, you can easily make it. The working time is also 60 seconds. It starts from the separation of the first formation. That means when we break the first grip. So break the grip and start moving. The best way for consistency of coming together out of an airplane is to practice coming together side by side. It's called dynamic starts. The second jumper should arrive and park his canopy within half canopy length, the most, from the first jumper. The video person arrives behind both jumpers and slightly lower. So after coming side by side, say ready and go for the first point. The direction of flight will be changing due to the moves, so always keep a sight of the airport. That is why we learned about the wind cone, and we always have to keep it in mind. It is worth to stop often during the work and see where you are flying than landing off. The approach pattern is the same as coming to a big wave formation. The difference for the two-way is that our formation has only 3 people, quite small, and everything goes quicker and we don't have to hang out in echelon and wait for our turn. We should come together in one slow approach out of the door. We have 60 seconds to build the first formation. The first person out of the door becomes a base or a target for the other 2 people. The second person exits the airplane, opens the parachute, looks back to locate the first jumper, the base, then turns 90 and heads right or left for 3-4 seconds, keeping an eye on the base person. This step is very important. Don't make it quick. Take your time. It would allow you to judge altitudes and distance towards your target, and you will have some extra time to make your decisions. After 3-4 seconds flying that direction, stop and turn 90 degrees towards the formation. Analyze and adjust your altitude. This is the leg 2 to 3. When the angle between you and the formation is about 45 degrees, turn in towards the base. As you approach your target, turn to face the same heading as base, the aircraft heading. The goal is to arrive side by side of each other. The third person, the video person, makes the same approach but goes from the opposite directions. So video person opens the parachute, looks back to find the base and number 2, and makes the approach into the opposite direction from number 2 to have a clear path to arrive to the base couple seconds later than number 2. The focus of this approach is to come in one wide circle. It will allow you to judge altitudes and distances. All crew people know this picture pretty well. If you don't, please memorize it. The center figure shows the first jumper, the base, and the red arrow is the direction of flight. On our approach from the airplane towards the base, we can end up in any of these 4 quadrants. It takes time to learn the consistent approach, so remember this and pick right controls to fix the situation. For example, when we are on approach and we need to turn a 45-degree angle coming towards the base, if we make the angle is very fast and steep, the speed may carry us behind the base and we can end up behind and low. Then we will have to get our body small and stay on rear risers coming up. If we end up behind and high, we would have to use front risers to come down to our base. If on our approach we finish it still up front of the base, if we are higher than the base, we can do sashay out and in. That would bring us side by side. Or if you found yourself below the base and still up front, use both brakes to give you lift, and then your canopy would lift you up towards the base. Let's view the regular crew techniques and see which ones we use for the two-way. For the regular crew, we fly full flight, sometimes on a approach, and when we're waiting, we do use brakes. We use front risers, rear risers when we have to recover from our mistake and come up. We fly cross controls in the echelon, and sometimes when we make docks. We fly sachets. The other two techniques are not very popular, but it would be nice for everybody to learn. First is the brake slap. It's when we fly on brakes and then we slap and release brakes rapidly, suddenly. It will slow down our canopy for a second. The next technique is front riser slaps or front riser dump. It's very efficient technique. After using front risers and gaining some extra speed, accelerating, if we dump or release our risers very fast, all this speed will disappear. So it's a great technique. It would be nice for everybody to learn it. We do use harness turns sometimes, but it's not very popular in the regular crew, so it would be nice to do it more. And body. We do fly our body small when we need to come up and recover. It would be nice to learn to fly our body more. And two-way can help us to learn those techniques. For the two-way, we fly full flight only on the initial approach out of the airplane. We fly on brakes all the time. We do use front risers to come down. And if you find yourself using rear risers, that means the same. You made a mistake and you went too low. We don't have time to use cross controls. We only would do it to fix the position. For sachets also, we only need it to fix the position. We usually don't fly sachets. Brake slaps we do often when we need to slow down our canopy quickly, stop it for a second. Front riser slaps also we use if we need to get rid of gained speed after using front risers. We fly with harness more often for the two-way, and we fly our body much more, getting small and big and using our body for the turns. For the break-off and landing, let's make some safety rules and let's not break those rules. No plane below 2,000 feet. Believe me, since you've been doing two-way from full altitude, you would get tired by the 2,000 feet. Let's reserve that altitude to prepare for your landing approach, or you can fly side by side with each other without making docks and practice some canopy controls. Also, take that time to look around and account for every jumper under the canopy on your formation and on your load. Fly straight final approach, avoid S-turns, make yourself predictable for the other jumpers. Land in clear space. If we have to do off-field landing, make a plan and follow a good pattern. Land together, perform a PLF if needed. Emergency procedures. This is one of our favorite topics, and not because we like getting wrapped up, but because we want to know how to get out of difficult situations that can happen to any one of us. We do emergency procedures reviews every crew event, and we have some very good presentations. I will go quickly over the EPs so we can continue towards the dives. Wraps happen when somebody is wrapped in canopy fabric. It is more stable malfunction. Entanglement is when someone is passed through the lines. It can be orbiting malfunction and can be fast. But please don't panic. Instead, take time and assess the situation. We need to have clear communication with each other That's how we can help each other to resolve the problem. Give clear and short commands, call the altitudes, and let the clear jumper cut away. Because we open high, we usually have time to deal with the emergency. This slide's title is Emergency Prevention. How do we prevent emergency situations? If we pay attention to distance, speed, and angle when we are flying, we would avoid canopy collisions that end up in wraps and entanglements. Distance. The only time we have the distance between us and carry extra speed is during the initial approach out of an airplane. Learn your approach, where to turn, how to slow down and stop, how to arrive side by side safely. During the working time, we usually fly very close. Speed. If we fly too fast, how do we slow down? We use brakes. For the two-way, we don't need speed. We need to learn how to fly slow. We should make small and gentle moves. Angle. This is the most critical part for the two-way. We move by making our canopies angled. If our canopies are angled in the same direction, they would never wrap. Pay attention to each other's canopy angles and match them. Plus, for the two-way, stability of our bodies are very important. We have to be aware of our body moves. We often can stop the situation before it gets worse, but we need to train our eyes to see the situation and see how it develops. Always watch each other. Do not make blind moves. Train yourself to be aware of your own moves. If you feel something is off, something is wrong, it is better to stop early than late. And how do we stop? We use both brakes. Also, if we are connected and you feel something is wrong, just let go of the grip. It will save the situation. And of course, have good debriefs to learn the lessons. Yay! We finally get to talk about the two-way specifics. Two-way gives us a great opportunity to train our overall awareness in the sky, to train our eyes to see more. We start training our eye ruler. That means measuring the distances. They are the boundaries of how far and how much we need to fly. Measure distances by the canopy lengths. If we travel horizontally from one end cell to another end cell, and we never fly any further away from each other than the canopy lengths. And if we need to go down vertically, we measure by the canopy's height. It's from the bottom of the canopy to the shoulder level of your partner. Here is the photo with some reference points. The distances can be different. The longest is from one end cell to the other end cell, side to side. We need to make sure we remember the reference point is the half of the canopy, center cell. So to start side to side move, we release the grip on one end cell and look at the half of the canopy. When we pass by that center cell, we refocus our attention to the end cell that we go into. We get ready to receive the grip. There can be shorter distances to travel from the end cell to the center of the canopy. Then we divide this distance in half, and 1/4 of the canopy becomes our reference point as well. Having different colors of the end cells and center cell could be very useful visually too. When we make moves, we have to take into consideration the canopy reaction time. When we apply an input, it takes a little bit of time for a canopy to react and start moving. And also, when we stop a move, here is a residual energy of a canopy. The energy doesn't just disappear immediately. It will continue for another little period of time until it stops. Different types of canopies have different slower or quicker reaction times. We learn it the longer we fly our canopies. And again, I will mention that we always fly in breaks. Focus on tiny controls. It allows us to be in control of our canopies, and it helps us to fly slow and predictable. We start learning all moves from a static position for consistency. When you take a grip, stop, stabilize, say ready, go, and then start the next move. Saying ready, go creates a good rhythm for all three people. How do we take grips in two-way? It's a bit different than for the big ways. We need to use a whole leg. Swipe the whole leg back and in at 45-degree angle. Good grip is as important as a good move. Let's give some extra attention to the video person's position. It is behind the two jumpers and slightly lower at 45-degree angle, so he can see the bottom skin of the bottom canopy. Video person needs to know every dive, to be able to move in the direction of each move slightly prior the two-way, to show the grip from the best possible view. For the working time, we usually divide it in parts. We do practice jumps from the full altitude, and we can design different dives so we won't get tired. From 13,000 feet to 4,000 feet, we do a planned dive. And from 4,000 feet to 2,000 feet, we do top work only. The top work is when both jumpers don't change their positions. The top person stays on top and the bottom person stays on the bottom. To start learning, first pick straight dives with simple and minimal inputs. You need to learn your canopy well, your canopy controls, and you being stable. At the same time, you have to learn your partner's canopy and his flying style. I am putting some first dives later in this presentation. Next, you progress into simple draws. Create 3-point dives. Even though for the competitions we do 5-point draws, if you start working on them right away, they would only confuse you and you would try to recover from one mistake going to another mistake instead of focusing on techniques. So work on specific moves. For the competition, we have 5-point draws. The judges pick those 5 points out of 12 possible grips. There are 6 grips we have. On the picture, there is A, B, C on one canopy and D, E, F on another canopy. The B and E are the center grips. The center cells have 2 red lines, so it's up to you to decide and pick one of them as your center grip. So the judges take those 6 grips, they double them, they put them in a hat, and they pick 5 grips out of those 12. This is how we get 5-point draws. For practicing those 5-point draws, there are different dive generators. Here is the AxisFlightSchool.com dive generator. You can use it. There is unlimited amount of the two-way sequential moves. In two-way, we fly 2 positions, being on the top and being on the bottom. Those positions do different work, and we need to learn them both. The top is more stable and static, and the bottom is flying more. This table shows the differences. For the top person, the main priority is to be a good target, be stable and have your body straight, and hardly fly at all, think flying. Learn to be patient and do not reach for the grip. Let the bottom person do the work and bring the grip to you. The bottom person flies more. That means he needs to stop well and park the canopy by the top jumper's foot. It would be very beneficial for the bottom person to make his body small. Give your canopy the advantage of a little bit of extra forward speed. When we fly, we need to constantly switch our minds. When we are moving across the top, we need to think of being stable. When we come down and become the bottom person, we make our body small, we fly and stop to present a good grip. We are coming so much closer to the actual skydives. This topic is about planning the dives. If we make a good dive plan on the ground, if we know what we need to learn, what we need to practice, we can execute it in the air. I will be talking about the first dives, but those dives are not the basics of crew. If you decided to start training for the competition, that means you already have some crew knowledge. These dives we do every time we jump with different partners or we try new canopies. Learn to fly close together. Keep your eyes on the prize, and your prize is your partner. We always watch each other's moves. The first two-way jump is exploring flight controls. This is exactly the jump that we teach crew pups how to use their controls, but for our two-way we have different focus. We still need to do the controls to see the canopies, to compare them one to one another. We need to see how easily we can fly together, how easily we can stay side by side. So after the exit, focus on making one nice approach to come together side by side. Then before you start working, release all the brakes and see the differences in the flight of both canopies and take notes. After that, come together again and do different controls, do different brake settings, risers, try different types of the sachets. It is important to come at the same level again before doing the next move. Then you can see better how far you're going, you can match the levels. Plus, do every move with the eyes on the prize, always looking at each other. Also, on the same jump, after you're done with the controls, you can start doing center docks and center rotations. Wind docks in place. This dive can be done from the full altitude or just as a top work from 4,000 feet. The objective is to stay close, be safe and be stable. For the top person, stability while taking the grips. Keep your core straight when you are moving your leg. And remember about your arms being stable and symmetrical. For the bottom person, make your body small and focus on staying at the same spot. Switch sides in the middle of the dive so both people get to practice both positions. Here is the video of the wind docks in place. After the initial dock, the top person says, "Ready, go," removes the foot to the side and immediately puts it back. Here, the top person gets to practice the brake slaps, which would slow down the canopy and let you stay in the same place. The bottom person lifts off the foot on the go sign and tries to stay at the same spot. If the top person slightly moves your canopy, then being light helps you to stay in control and move your canopy slightly back to where it was, so the top person can get the grip back easily. The next exercise is wing rotations. It is almost the same like wing dogs in place. We just have to make a sashay down to give another dog. The objectives are to stay close and be stable. The top person focus on your stability and taking good grips. And the bottom person fly your body small. So after an initial wing dog, the top person says ready, go, and makes a sashay out and back in to come down and give another wing dog. Focus on good proper sachets. Focus on the angles of your sachets, how deep or how shallow should you go, and how you stop the energy when you are coming back towards your partner. This is the video for the wing rotations. Pay attention how to do sachets. So the top person says ready, go, removes the foot, applies outside brake, and then immediately applies inside brake to create the angle to go down towards the partner. When you are passing by the shoulder level, don't go too low, square away with both brakes, and then present the ear up for the grip. The bottom person on ready, go, lifts off the foot and stays static. Watch your partner and get ready to receive the grip. Being static helps the top person have a good target and judge his approach. Remember about the residual energy and the canopy reaction time on here. Think about your proper sachets and staying close. Stair-step rotations. It is a good practice for quick controls and staying close together, making a good, repeatable path. Here we should not fly aggressive because everything is closer than we think it is. And we have to watch where we are going. The path for the stair-step rotations is to go side to side across the bottom canopy and then same side down on the front risers to arrive to the body of the lower jumper and give another wing dog. Stair-step rotations video. First move is side to side. The top person says ready, go, leans in, slightly applying the inside brake to slide across the canopy. Look to that other side of the canopy where you going. To go down while we are passing by the 3/4 of the canopy, sliding across, we apply both front risers, favoring the inside front. Why do we do that at the 3/4 of the canopy? Why don't we wait until the end cell? Because we remember about the canopy reaction time. When we make an input at the 3/4 of the canopy to start going down, canopy takes a little bit of time to react and we will arrive to the end cell by the time the canopy reacts. So to go down, we apply both front risers, coming same side down, favoring the inside front. Inside front help us to create that little angle that will put us behind our partner. To stop the down move, we have to release fronts rapidly while we are passing at the slider height of our partner. Then we apply brakes to stop and present the ear. The bottom jumper on ready, go, lifts off the foot and stays static, watching the partner and be ready to get the grip. This is a stair-step rotations video of what not to do. This was actually a good move, but a little bit too fast, too strong, and too short. Doing side to side, we have to slide across the whole canopy, so we have to look where we go, so we have to look to the other side of the canopy and go there. Do we think this situation was preventable? Definitely. What could a top jumper done to get rid of that bad situation before it developed? As soon as he realized that he was looking at the center of the canopy and going there, he could have stopped both brakes to lift himself up. He also could have lifted up his legs or tried to run across the canopy while stopping brakes. It also would have helped. Anytime we realize that we are going wrong, we can always get out of there. Don't take your time thinking. Use both brakes to get out of the situations. Same side down move. The focus is to stay close and not to drift away. To apply both front risers long enough to end up on the level of the bottom jumper's body and finish by his foot. Plus, to apply more of the inside front riser to create an angle with your canopy that would put you slightly behind the bottom jumper. Don't go too low when you are using fronts. When you are coming down, watch the lines of the canopy you're passing by, the slider level, and that's probably when you want to release the fronts. Release them rapidly, slap or dump the fronts to get rid of the extra power that you gained. This move is pretty tiring, so do it few times and change sides, and modify the dive to make it easier on your body. Same side down video. The top person says ready, go, takes the foot out and applies both front risers, slightly favoring the inside front to create an angle towards the bottom jumper. This angle will help you to get slightly behind the bottom jumper. When you are going down, watch the lines of the canopy, see the slider, then dump the fronts rapidly to stop the momentum and forward speed. By using brakes, aim your canopy's ear up to present the grip. The bottom jumper on the go lifts off the foot and stays light, stays in the same place. Stay stationary so the top can judge his vertical and horizontal distance in comparison to you. And watch the canopy passing by and get ready to take a grip. When we plan our working time from the all the way up until 4,000 feet, we plan a dive. And from 4,000 feet to 2,000 feet, we do top work. That means we don't change positions. Top person stays on top and bottom stays on the bottom. You can change places on the next jump, so both people get to practice both positions because it's different way of flying. What kind of top moves they are? There's a side to side, side center side, double grips, and any points you can imagine when you have to go across the canopy. The top person flies 30% of the move and the bottom flies 70%. I'm saying that not that the top person works less than the bottom, but it is a reminder of the different type of work. Top person should be more like a target. Top should lean towards the move and stop nicely and be patient waiting for the grip, and the bottom person should fly his canopy more and give the grip to the target, to the top person. So pay attention to find a rhythm of each move you do and make it consistent. Also, Fly gentle and slow. If you fly stronger, that means you have to stop stronger also. And for taking the grips, remember to swipe and stretch your whole leg to get the grip. Make a good grip. Side to side move. Top person, say ready, go, foot out, then look towards the other side of the canopy you have to go, lean in and apply inside brake to drift across the canopy, make it slow. Passing by the center of the bottom canopy, you have to stop your move, get your body straight, tap the brakes to stop that move, and then you have to twist and continue looking at the bottom canopy passing by to be ready to take a grip, the outside grip. The bottom person on ready lifts off the foot, on go, start moving your canopy to the other side. When you watch the top person feet and they are passing by your canopy center, you also have to stop with both brakes and then lift up the opposite, the outside brake up to present the ear for the grip. Focus on consistency and rhythm. Figure out each other's timing of the move. Side, center, side move. We need to pay attention to the center now, so our distances will be twice shorter. The top person, say ready, go, foot out and lean in towards the center. Watch that center. Passing by the 1/4 of the canopy, stick your leg towards the center and stop your canopy's move with both brakes. It's better to get the first center grip. It will give you slightly more distance for a second half of the canopy, and it will give you slightly more time for a good twist towards the outside grip. So when you get the center grip, try to put leg in and remove your foot immediately, and then twist right away, continuing looking at that bottom canopy passing by. When you see the 3/4 of the bottom canopy, then stab your leg back to get the outside grip. The bottom person on ready, lift off the foot, on go, start slow move. Slightly pause when you see the feet passing close to the center of your canopy, and then continue. So hopefully the top will get the leg in and out quickly. So when you continue, by the 3/4, stop your move and lift the ear up to present the outside grip. We usually don't stop on the center grips. Why? Because it disturbs the airflow of the center cell and kills bottom's canopy performance a little bit. And when we release the grip, the canopy will drop down. But for the easier learning, it might be better for you to stop at the center grip first and assess the distances and learn that center point. Double grips. In this video, we do double grips, then move side to side and do another double grips. You can get creative and do any double grips for practice, or just stay on one side and do the same grip repeatedly. The objective is for both people to be pretty stationary. For the top person, the focus is on tapping or slapping the brakes, which would allow you to stay at the same place. For the bottom person is to lift off the foot and stay in the same spot. So top, slap or tap your brakes, remove your foot to the side and immediately put it back. And bottom person, lift off the foot and stays at the same spot. If the top person tugs your canopy a little bit by his foot, then you just slightly move your canopy to the spot you were before. When you start thinking about the complex 5-point dives, ask yourself a question: what are your goals? How much time do you have for training? and what would you like to accomplish during that time. I would suggest to do those complex dives when you already have some understanding of the simple 3-point dives, we call them drills, and you can repeatedly do the same techniques. When you put a 5-point draw, don't be worried, don't let it overwhelm you. Think of it as a combination of the drills you've been practicing. Each of you practice flying both positions, top and bottom, and then with the experience you will see and decide who is better on top and who is better on the bottom, and keep practicing that. Use the dive generator. accessflightschool.com has a good one. Also, when you start progressing, start your timing. Count your build time from the exit to the first dock, and count how many points you do in 60 seconds. There are some tips to make your training easier. Start with a larger canopy. Don't rush to downsize. Focus on technique over the speed. Remember, we need to learn how to fly slow and how to stop nice. Trust your teammates. Build that trust. Fly as close as possible and watch each other all the time. When you watch, you are safe. Fly gentle. If you have time to think, that means you have time to react. Don't rush. Grips, be patient and wait for a grip to come to you. Do not reach. It makes you and your canopy unstable. Remember, you should have your body stable. Always dirt dive on the ground prior to the load. Video person memorizes the dive flow during the dirt dive. Make sure your video person knows the dive. And have fun. Go through the frustration and make the best out of your dive. If you are tired, just switch to an easier dive. Have fun.